Guys, welcome back to C-Null MMA, and in today's video, I will be recapping and reviewing this past fight night, UFC Fight Night in Houston, Texas, where Sean Strickland put a whooping up on my friend Fluffy Hernandez, and it was a slow card to start out with, but it really picked up towards the end. There were some great finishes towards the end of the card, a couple of solid scraps, but a pretty crappy prelim. And man, let's just go ahead and get right into the main event that was Sean Strickland defeating Anthony Hernandez in the third round. And I picked Fluffy. I did. Hand up. I did it. But I was worried and I wasn't super confident in it, but I just went ahead and went with my gut. And it's hard to pick against a friend, you know. You never want to pick your own buddy to lose in a fight. And I just couldn't do that to Fluffy. Before we get into the fight breakdown, I think he'll be all right. I think he could learn a lot from the type of performance he had against Sean Strickland. But man, also, this was so good for Strickland to win. Not only win, but in a dominant fashion, a finish against a surging contender in Anthony Hernandez. Fluffy, my friend. He needed that win, big time. It was entertaining as well. It was a fantastic performance. And all the trash he was talking this week, all the headlines he makes politically with his based things he has to say. I like what he has to say a lot of the times. But nevertheless, he's one of the best middleweights in the world. And I said that before this fight took place. And I still went with Fluffy. And I was wrong. And Sean, and I said again before this fight, I was worried about this. The Fluffy. And that was his kryptonite. Sean landed a beautiful knee right to the midsection in that third round. And then just went to town on Fluffy's noggin. And finally put him out. TKO finish. It was a great performance by Strickland. He got the jab going super early. And even when he wasn't pressing the action initially, and it was Fluffy who was on the front foot, working off the back foot with his teeps, calf kicks, and jab, and putting together combinations early on in a fight, which was why I didn't pick him, because I thought he would be too inactive throughout this 5-rounder as what I've seen against Paulo Costa and his last fight against Dricus du Plessis. However, I was very wrong, and he came out ready to go, ready to scrap, and ready to get a win, and that's exactly what he did. I didn't like seeing Fluffy anytime he would look to set up or go to strike with Strickland on the feet. He'd just open his guard, and Strickland, he's too sharp and good at his timing with his hands, and was just landing nasty straight shots. And man, I was shocked that it was that easy for Strickland. I wasn't shocked that he won, but how he dominated the fight. And it was a fantastic performance. Fluffy, he didn't look to get too many entries, and I didn't really like that. However, the times he did, though, Sean Strickland, wonderful grappling. And in the clinch, he seemed to be the more physically strong guy, and turning around Fluffy and putting him against the fence with the double underhooks. And Strickland, man, honestly, after a performance like this, I would not be mad at the UFC, which I don't know. But if they did Strickland and Hamzat, I mean, Strickland has a win, I think, against every top 5 guy in the UFC right now, including the number 1 guy in Imavov. And Fluffy was everybody's pick for it, who could beat Hamzat, and Strickland just went out there and whooped him. Yeah, it was a great performance, and I would not be mad if that was Hamzat's next fight against Sean Strickland. And the build and the excitement for a fight like that compared to Hamzat and Nasruddin Imavov would be a million times better. I mean, Strickland was bringing up goats. If you know anything about those type of fellas, you know. But man, it was just so dominant. There's not much to talk about. Like, Strickland he outclassed him. Fluffy wasn't ready. Even when he did try to press the pace, just Strickland was way too good on the feet for him. Didn't let him get hardly close at all with any grappling exchanges. And I thought Fluffy would have more success on the feet, and he did land here and there. But he was winging a lot of shots and kind of wide hooks more than straight down the middle, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then mixing the hooks like he has in the past, and especially against Dolidze. So I was a bit disappointed in that, but super pumped for Strickland to get this win. I like Sean. That's not why I picked against him. I couldn't. Me and Sean aren't friends like me and Fluffy are friends. And the sportsmanship was great to see. They're two great fighters, two cool dudes. So it was a great main event, an amazing performance by Sean Strickland. And like I said, I would not be angry if he's awarded a title shot next, truly. I think he would maybe have a better chance against Hamzat than Imavov. I don't know. Imavov's really good, but it also kind of seems like he beat Izzy on the feet, knocked him out. He's about to fight Joe Pyfer, so. And then his last fight was against Caio Borralho, and Caio's best win before that is, I can't even remember, Caio, he hasn't fought a guy like Sean Strickland or Dricus du Plessis, the real top guys at middleweight. So, I don't know, it could be a weird thing where because Imavov lost to Strickland, which that was, 2022, but, they've both gotten better, so you never know. But, yeah, that's my thoughts on this fight. Moving down to the co-main event where Uros Medic, the doctor, I was right on this pick. I was wrong on the main event. This brings us to 1-1. I don't even know if we'll count the record. It wasn't too fantastic. No, we will. Dude. Exactly what I said in my picks and preview. Jeff Neal, it may not even be the fact that he's now chinny, but Uros is quick, he is twitchy, and he has really good timing, and when you get in those exchanges in tight range with him, he can clip you, and he can turn your lights out, and that's exactly what he did against Jeff Neal early in the first round. What a crazy knockout, a great performance on the mic as well afterwards. And I do believe they are seriously going to Serbia this summer. So, Leon, bro, you lost. Is that 3 in a row? You get the medic, Uros Medic, in his home country in Serbia. You live in London, so it's not as far as a flight for maybe someone else that would maybe have that fight against Uros. But, dude, it's the big 2026, and Uros Medic just beat number 12, Jeff Neal, and is going to be in the top 15 on Tuesday. Jeff Neal, he looked a little tentative. But as soon as he went to strike, just Uros was quicker, sharper, had the timing down, and just looked phenomenal in that 1 minute where he freaking sandpapered Jeff Neal. And it was very impressive. Jeff Neal, gave Shavkat and Ian Gary all they could really handle. Those were close, tough fights for those two guys. Two top contenders in the welterweight division. And Uros Medic just went out there and made it look easy. So, I don't know. Is Uros Medic future champion? Could be. I don't know, but he's so twitchy. And he has stabbing front kicks. He manages range well. If he can get a little bit more slick footwork going side to side and horizontally instead of just vertically back and forth, I think that would benefit him a great deal. But Jeff Neal, if you look at his record, it's not the craziest impressive thing you've ever seen. And he's a good fighter. I'm not trying to diminish this, and it's crazy. Uros has a loss against Punelli Soriano, who won earlier on the card, but fantastic finish in the co-main event. Glad I got this pick right, because it was I don't think too many people picked Uros Medic. Moving down to Melqui Ziel Costa, spinning back kick to the face of Dan Ige to shut the lights out. 2-1. That's another up-and-comer in a weight class that I picked against a gatekeeper of the division. I went with the Dalmatian, and he proved me right. He's so dynamic on the feet. He's so good at creating his own damaging and finishing opportunities. And I love fighters like that. I also said he was a better grappler than Ige. And though even Ige had a takedown early on, he was easily used a leg lock to scramble out of that. He came into the UFC a grappler, and he's a strong grappler at that. And he only keeps improving as he keeps going up in level of competition inside the UFC. I love this guy. I think he's amazing. I think he's really good and has top 5 potential. His kicks are nasty, very powerful, probably should work on the boxing, but still had some nice straight shots down the pipe to counter Dan Ige's entries. And I was right here, just like I said in my prediction video. Dan Ige, he's going to go out there, probably clinch, throw some hooks, not really throw anything meaningful, try to edge out a decision like he has in the past. I don't care how close he kept it with Lerone Murphy or whatever. When he goes out and fights a guy that wants to take your head off like Melqui Ziel Costa, he's going to lose. And I don't like that version of Dan Ige because that's not how he used to fight. But what a sick, nasty knockout. 100K for Costa. Well deserved. And I think he's a real deal in the featherweight division, and he'll be in the rankings. And I think there's some very interesting matchups there at 145 for him, and I think he's very dangerous for everybody there. He's kind of big for 145, rangy, powerful, athletic, unique. Like he's not like a basic fighter. He creates his own opportunities. I love creator style fighters. Not he's just very entertaining, and I feel like I've seen him in the Apex for 4 straight years now. To see him get a big win in a crowded arena against a guy like Dan Ige was super cool to see. Moving down the card to Sergey Spivak and Ante Dalia. Sergey Spivak gets it done. I had it 29-28 with Ante winning the second and Sergey winning the first and the third. Dude, Sergey got hands, man. And for it being a primarily stand-up battle, first of all, it was very solid for a heavyweight fight. It was a pretty decent scrap. Not a boring fight at all, especially compared to what we've been getting at heavyweight. It's been abysmal. It was entertaining. It was a good fight. I mean, nothing like insane, but it was good. There was blood, hard leather being thrown. And I can't believe Sergey outstruck Ante Dalia. I don't know. Like, Dalia just seemed hesitant. Almost finished him in the second round, but ended up getting the tables turned and letting Sergey clinch him up against the fence to save it. And then besides that, Sergey was just clipping him, landing straight shots on the feet, and just seemed sharper and more experienced. Like, it was very weird, because I for sure thought if Sergey doesn't get this to the ground, this is Dalia's fight all day long. He's explosive, quicker. But I don't know if it was like Sergey just all of a sudden used his range very well, because he was timing stuff really good and catching Dalia off the end of his shots. Nonetheless, it was a good performance by Sergey Spivak. I was kind of disappointed, though. I like Dalia. He seems like he has passion for the sport. But, Sergey Spivak gets it done in a solid, impressive heavyweight matchup here. And especially considering Sergey didn't even really use the grappling to win, except a few clinch exchanges. Moving down to the card to a great performance by Jacoby Smith. Ground and pound TKO against Josiah Harrell. Okay, Jacoby Smith is the real deal. I was kind of low on him. I thought he's a bit overrated. But he's so physical, man. So strong. Fantastic wrestling. Looks sharper on the feet every time he goes out there. Good kicks. Tight boxing. I think he still needs a little bit to go on the feet, but that wrestling is good. That reversal was insane. And how I love the tenacity of as soon as he gets on side control, Josiah Harrell just rains down elbows and hammer fists. It is a fantastic performance by Jacoby Smith. I like the Kevin Holland call out as well. I think he would ragdoll Kevin Holland. So I know Kevin Holland's booked to fight Randy Brown, I believe, in April in Miami on UFC 327. So, or even Randy Brown. That's a favorable matchup for Jacoby Smith as well. Both rangy strikers. I think that'd be a good test for Jacoby on the feet as well, because he's kind of short. Bit of a stockier build guy, so I don't know if a solid striker with some range would give him much problems. But also, if they're not that great of a grappler, man, I think he may just ragdoll him. He's a very talented wrestler. Moving down the card to Michel Pereira and Zachary Reese. I didn't like this fight. There's a few fun moments, like Pereira landed some big strikes, and then Reese kind of came down in the end and made it a split decision, landing some good strikes of his own. Super sloppy. I say you cut them both. Michel Pereira faking the nut shots, and then got poked in, I believe he got poked in the right eye and then held his left eye. Like, dude, if your cardio is that bad, you should not, this is the NFL, the NBA of MMA. You shouldn't be allowed. Shouldn't be allowed if you can't compete at the highest level cardio-wise, bare minimum. I think both these guys are not UFC level. It was an okay scrap, though. If you're a casual, you maybe kind of would have enjoyed that fight. In which it wasn't boring by any means. I'm not saying that. It was just, when you watch as much MMA and UFC as a guy like me, when you see low-level competition like that go back and forth, it's just kind of what is this? And especially Michel Pereira, kind of used to be a fan favorite, exciting. Then the awful cardio, fading towards the end of the fight. And Zach Reese is not good, man. And he had opportunities to create more moments for him in those second and third rounds to maybe swing it to his way on the judges' scorecards, and he just refused to do so. So I say you cut them both. That's my recap of that fight for sure. Moving down the card to how they should have gave them a fight of the night bonus. I know a lot of people were like raving about this fight. Second round was kind of slow, so maybe that's why they didn't give it the fight of the night. But it was still a really fun scrap, especially the first and second rounds where Carlos Leal was just dealing in the boxing range and just landing bombs on Njokuani. I thought Leal won the first and the third, and Njokuani won the second. I thought that was a pretty clear 29-28 for Carlos Leal. Easy to score. Njokuani did look pretty good with the kicks and stuff, but these long rangey like kickboxers, you gotta like throw 1-2s down the pipe. Like he threw a couple jabs and straights that worked really well in the second round, but also most of his combinations he's leading with a lead hook or just a hook. Sorry, I lost train of thought there. And Leal's throwing down the pipe, mixing to the body, then coming up top with the hooks. It was just a more well-balanced approach from Leal. He hits hard. Chidi Njokuani, though, super tough taking some of those shots. And beat up Carlos Leal's leg quite a bit in that third round. He kept chopping at it, was getting him to lose balance. Nonetheless, it was a great fight and a good performance by both guys, really, but Leal having the better approach on the feet and was able to get it done clearly. And I like Leal. He's a fun fighter. Like, I know Muslim Salikov knocked him out. He got finished by Fakhratinov, who's no longer even in the UFC. But also Njokuani, like he stood in there and traded with Leal. This was a good fight. They should both give him like $50K or something. Especially like before this fight, there was really nothing going on in the card, and this really picked up the energy for the rest of the main card. Moving down to Alibi Idris and Ode Osborne. We'll keep these next ones short. They weren't the best fights. Alibi, pressure grappling, man, and even on the feet was able to create damage as well. Ode got the better of the feet in most exchanges, though. But on the ground, he was active. Got some good shots on Ode, and this one I predicted, well, again, just a pressure grappling of Alibi. That area of the world, look at him. Too much for a guy like Ode Osborne, who is a creative, fun, solid striker and can keep it close with a guy like Steve Erceg, but with the pressure grappling arsenal and wrestling of Alibi Idris, I figured it'd be too much, and I think I was proven exactly right, and kind of exactly how I thought a fight like this would play out. Moving down to Aldin Coria and Luis Gurriel. Aldin Coria, fun fighter. I don't think he's going to be like a champion or anything, but I think he kind of has top 15 potential. This whole fight, just landing the better shots on the feet, was crisp with the hand, minimized all the grappling of Gurriel that he kind of has. I'm not going to lie, for some reason this fight kind of got lost in my memory. I don't know if I didn't pay attention to it too much, but Coria, he's a fun fighter, good boxing, quick. Not the most exciting fight, though. It's kind of one of those that was almost like sparring, one-sided. I cooked dinner during this fight, but I did see the finish, so good on Jocelyn Edwards. Punelli Soriano and Ramiz Brahmaja. I thought Punelli would make this a little more dominant. I think he let Brahmaja be way too successful than he really should have been on the feet against Punelli. He should have stood his base more often and pivoted off combinations and strung more shots together. And honestly, I thought he was lazy on the takedown defense, but he did well most of the time in the takedown and grappling defense and did enough damage to win the fight. And I like Punelli Soriano. He's a scrapper, but I was a bit disappointed in his performance because Ramiz is not that good. He's really not. Phil Rowe, again, lanky guy who just wouldn't turn it up. Kind of did towards the end of the fight. I don't really see how this was a split. Thought this was clear JPL. Jean-Paul Lebezoniani. His offensive grappling and wrestling, he's a lot stronger in that area of the fight in MMA than I thought he was. And I knew he's pretty good, but like Phil Rowe, he just didn't seem like he wanted to be in there. Kind of boring, not the best fight. Moving down, Jordan Levitt. Yadir Delval sucks, man. The betting scandal made him look great, and then he had his debut performance was really good though too, but that was a horrible performance. Jordan Levitt though, underrated. Solid grappler, strong, but then he's kind of annoying. Like, he practically took the third round off until he could get a good scramble to get top position on Delval. So this fight was kind of like whatever. This was not the best card besides like the last 5 fights. Carly Judice at range, very good kickboxer. Juliana Miller is a horrible fighter, should not be in the UFC. Carly Judice though gets it done like I thought. What is that? 1-0, 1-2, 2-2. I didn't pick that fight. 3-2, 4-2, 4-3, 5-3, 6-3, 6-4, 7-4, 8-4, 8-5. Not the best picks for me. It was a weird card, though. Main card was solid, though. Sean Strickland's performance, absolutely amazing. Would not mind seeing him fight for the title next. I do think Fluffy will be back, though. And really anybody outside the top 5, I think Anthony Hernandez makes easy work of. We got Uros Medic, a new welterweight contender. I'm excited to see what he does against some high-level competition. And then Melquizael Costa, man. I think he's dangerous. I think he is a surging contender at 145, and I can't wait to see who they match him up with next. But overall, I'd give this card probably a 6 because all these fights pretty much sucked until this one. Really good. Sucked. Good finish. Solid. Great finish. Great finish. Great finish. 6 for Sean. Like it was a really good main event. I'd give it a 6.5. If, like, the prelims were just a half a bit better, like, this is an easy, fun card. Just none of the fights were that exciting. However, that is it for today's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought about the Strickland Hernandez UFC Houston card in the comments below. And if you watched the video all the way through and you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. And until next time,